Okay, welcome to a class on linking words, and I mean words that join parts of sentences together. Yeah, they join sentences together. Sometimes they join clauses together. Clause is anything with a subject and a verb. Okay, that's what clause means. Any part of the sentence with a subject and a verb. Okay, so sometimes they are conjunctions and they join clauses together. Sometimes the linking word is an adverb and they also join main clauses, but the punctuation is different. And we have prepositions, and you already know that prepositions are followed by a noun. Yeah, a noun, preposition plus noun. Or some of our prepositions we can turn into conjunctions by adding the fact that. Yeah, we'll look at that in a moment. Okay, but let's start with cause and effect. I'm going to show you 4 different types of word, and you're going to have different examples each time. Okay, so maybe I want to explain why we went for a picnic, and I want to say the weather was gorgeous, comma, so we went for a picnic. And I think everybody understands what this means, yeah? The weather was gorgeous. Gorgeous means beautiful, really, really nice. Very, very beautiful. That's what gorgeous means, very beautiful. So if the weather was gorgeous, well, that's why we went for a picnic. So is very similar to that's why. It gives the reason, and that's why it's here in cause and effect. But with so, it joins the 2 complete thoughts, the 2 clauses. Yeah, it joins the weather was gorgeous to we went for a picnic, and it only needs a comma. Okay, that's how you use so. There are different types of words though, like since and because and as, and these are not coordinating conjunctions. Coordinating conjunctions join equal elements, okay, and we call them fanboys because these 7 words are the 7 coordinating conjunctions. For, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. In everyday spoken English, you hear so and but and very often, and maybe even or, in fact, very often. But the others, for, nor, yet, they're in books, they're in literature a lot, but in spoken English, you don't hear them very often used as coordinating conjunctions. Yeah, for can be a preposition. This word at the top, for, when you say for my mum, that's a preposition. That's for plus noun. But when you say I took off my jumper for I was hot, yeah, it means because I was hot, yeah, then that's a coordinating conjunction. Okay, so that's how we use so. The weather was gorgeous, comma, so we went for a picnic. But you might want to use one of these words, since, because, as. And I want to make it clear that since, we've already seen that since, it has 2 meanings. It can mean from that moment in time, and that's when we use present perfect. I haven't seen him since I was 11 years old. Notice it's still a subordinating conjunction. It still joins this part to the first part, but it's this since where we need present perfect, okay, when it means from that moment in time. I haven't seen him since 1994. I haven't seen him since I was 11 years old, okay? But the second meaning is because. Since can mean because, and that's what it means here. Since the weather was gorgeous, comma, we went for a picnic, or because the weather was gorgeous, comma, we went for a picnic, or as the weather was gorgeous, comma, we went for a picnic. Okay, so that's how you can use the subordinating conjunctions. And I want to make it clear that you can swap the clauses round. That's what that sign is supposed to mean. I'm trying to tell you that you can say, we went for a picnic since the weather was gorgeous. We went for a picnic because the weather was gorgeous. We went for a picnic as the weather was gorgeous. They are all synonyms, yeah? They all mean exactly the same thing, and it means the same as the first sentence, okay? All 3 of them mean exactly the same as so. You're giving the reason, yeah, why you went for a picnic, because the weather was gorgeous. Okay, so they are different from the so. They are punctuated differently, And the main difference is that with so, you can't swap the clauses round. You can't say, so we went for a picnic, the weather was gorgeous. You can't do that with so, but you can with since, because, and as. You can swap them round. We went for a picnic since the weather was gorgeous. We went for a picnic because the weather was gorgeous. We went for a picnic as the weather was gorgeous. And you always must use a clause after since, because, as. And that means a subject, weather, and a verb, was. Yeah, there's our subject and verb. Since the weather was gorgeous. You can't say since and then noun when you're using it to mean because. Okay, you can't. You can't use because a noun. You can't use as a noun. Why? Because they're not prepositions. They're not prepositions. Okay, they are subordinating conjunctions. They are a different type of word. Okay, conjunctive adverbs. All three words sound very formal to me. And so all three are good in an essay. When you're writing an essay, these words are very good to use in an essay. And I want you to punctuate them like this. They still join main clauses together like so, but you need a semicolon and a comma. Like this. The weather was gorgeous, semicolon. Therefore, comma, we went for a picnic. Okay, and that's a sophisticated way of punctuating a conjunctive adverb. It shows that you know how to use a semicolon. Yeah, and I want you to use your semicolons correctly. Okay, so that's how we use conjunctive adverb. We have a main clause here, the weather was gorgeous, then a semicolon,